Admiral Sarah Thompson was not your ordinary leader. A respected Navy SEAL admiral, she had led countless successful missions, showcasing her exceptional skills in strategy and combat. Her reputation was built on years of dedication, hard work, and leadership that inspired those around her. With a steely gaze and unshakable confidence, she commanded respect wherever she went. But today was different. Today she was not adorned in her military uniform, but rather dressed as an everyday traveler. The mission required stealth and secrecy, so Admiral Thompson donned a simple hoodie and a pair of jeans, hoping to blend in with the crowd at the bustling airport. She anticipated challenges ahead, but she believed that her experience would guide her through any obstacle. As she walked through the terminal, she keenly observed her surroundings, noting every detail: the families rushing to their gates, business people glued to their phones, and travelers slumped over with exhaustion. Though it felt strange to hide her true identity, Sarah knew it was crucial for the success of her current operation. The situation demanded complete anonymity to gather intelligence without drawing attention to herself. She reminded herself that sometimes discretion was just as important as strength and bravery. As she navigated the busy space, she felt the familiar buzz of adrenaline coursing through her veins. This mission could change everything. All the training she endured and the risks taken were leading to this moment. Little did she know that soon she would be caught up in an unforeseen twist that would challenge both her patience and resourcefulness. A full-body search by airport security, who had no clue they were dealing with a high-ranking admiral in disguise. Admiral Sarah Thompson's disguise was not just a matter of clothing. It represented a carefully crafted plan. She had spent weeks preparing for this covert mission, which involved gathering crucial intelligence on a potential security threat that could endanger thousands of lives. Wearing ordinary clothes allowed her to move undetected in a space filled with travelers, blending seamlessly into the crowd. The stakes were high. A recent rise in suspicious activities near major airports had prompted her superiors to order an undercover investigation. They needed someone with her expertise, someone who could observe and assess risks without attracting attention. By keeping her true identity hidden, Sarah could gather information from a vantage point that few would expect from an admiral. As she donned the simple hoodie and jeans, Sarah reflected on the importance of remaining incognito. In her line of work, appearances could be deceptive, and being noticed could compromise the entire mission. She knew that adopting a low profile would also allow her to engage with people naturally, providing opportunities to overhear conversations that might reveal vital clues. Navigating through the bustling terminals, she understood how vital it was to maintain that guise. If anyone recognized her as an admiral, it could blow her cover and potentially jeopardize the safety of countless innocent people. Each interaction needed to feel casual and unremarkable. With every step, she felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. The combination of determination and nerves fueled her as she walked past families, businessmen, and single travelers lost in their thoughts. This mission was not only about gathering intelligence, it was about protecting lives. And she was ready to do whatever it took to ensure their safety, even if that meant putting herself at risk by remaining unseen in plain sight. As Admiral Sarah Thompson stepped into the bustling airport, she felt a familiar rush of adrenaline. The bright lights and the cacophony of voices surrounded her, creating an atmosphere filled with excitement and anxiety. She took a deep breath, adjusting her hoodie to ensure it sat comfortably while scanning the crowd. Her posture remained relaxed, exuding an air of confidence that came from years of training in high-pressure situations. Sarah moved through the airport like an experienced traveler, her keen eyes darting from one group to another. Families laughed together, business people rushed past with their phones glued to their ears, and tourists lingered over departure boards, all blissfully unaware of the unseen tension in the air. Blending in was crucial. She needed to observe without drawing attention to herself. She made her way toward the check-in area, where long lines snaked in front of electronic kiosks. Sarah noted the details: a mother soothing her crying baby, a pair of teenagers joking with each other, and a man pacing nervously as he checked his watch. Each moment presented a glimpse into the lives of everyday travelers, ordinary scenes she needed to remain unnoticed within. As she progressed through security, her mind focused on the mission ahead. Every detail was important. She needed to stay aware of her surroundings while maintaining the demeanor of someone just passing through. The determination in her stride mirrored the resolve within her heart. She was here to protect others, and nothing would stand in her way. The tightness in her chest reminded her of how serious this operation was. Sarah mentally prepared herself for anything that might come her way, knowing that being vigilant was key. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident in her ability to handle the unexpected twists that could arise during her covert investigation. As Sarah moved through the airport, she could sense the heightened atmosphere around her. Recent threats had prompted airport security to tighten their measures significantly. News reports of suspicious activities and potential plans for attacks had made travelers anxious, and security personnel were on high alert. Every checkpoint was buzzing with activity as officers worked diligently to ensure everyone's safety. Lines at the security checkpoints were longer than usual, with travelers shifting nervously as they waited their turn. In addition to standard bag checks, each passenger was subjected to thorough screenings, including metal detectors and pat-downs. Sarah noticed the serious expressions on the faces of the security staff. They were determined to catch anything out of the ordinary. Their vigilance was palpable, creating a tense environment that seemed to thrum with anxiety. As she approached the X-ray machine, Sarah felt her heart rate quicken slightly. She knew she had to remain calm while navigating through these intensified procedures. Every person ahead of her was scrutinized carefully, their bags opened and examined as officers asked questions about their travel plans. Even though she blended in as an everyday traveler, she couldn't shake the feeling that eyes were watching her closely. The echo of announcements filled the air. Reminders about keeping luggage in sight and reporting any suspicious behavior added to an almost electric tension among passengers. For Sarah, this was more than just a routine security check. It was a critical moment in her mission. The strict measures being enforced heightened her awareness of her surroundings and reminded her of what was at stake: the safety of countless individuals traveling through this busy hub. With each passing moment, the pressure mounted as she prepared for what lay ahead, aware that she needed to stay sharp and ready for anything that could happen next. As Admiral Sarah Thompson approached the security checkpoint, she felt the weight of dozens of eyes on her. The guards moved with purpose, scanning the crowd for anything out of the ordinary, and it didn't escape their notice that Sarah carried herself differently from other travelers. While most people looked anxious or distracted, she exuded an air of calm confidence that stood out in the chaotic scene. One guard, a tall man with sharp features and a watchful gaze, exchanged glances with his colleague as Sarah approached. He raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her demeanor. It wasn't just her posture, but also the way she surveyed her surroundings, alert and engaged, as though she were assessing not just security procedures, but also potential threats. For a moment, he seemed to hesitate in signaling her to step forward, weighing whether this seemingly ordinary traveler deserved extra attention. As she shuffled closer to the metal detector, Sarah felt an uneasy knot form in her stomach. She had worked hard to maintain her cover, but she couldn't ignore the instinct telling her that something was amiss. The guards began to whisper among themselves, their eyes darting back to her as if they were piecing together a puzzle they found interesting, yet confusing. The tall guard stepped slightly into her path at the last second. "Excuse me," he said softly, his tone more curious than accusatory. "Can I ask you a few questions about your travel plans?" Sarah took a deep breath before smiling politely. She locked eyes with him and replied confidently while keeping her voice steady. Her resolve strengthened as she prepared for whatever questions lay ahead, knowing that each interaction must be navigated carefully. Just then, another guard joined them, and Sarah sensed that the tension was escalating around her. She remained composed but knew that this was turning into a critical moment in her mission, one where her true identity needed to remain hidden amid growing suspicion. As the guard continued to question her, the atmosphere shifted from mere curiosity to suspicion. Sarah kept her expression neutral, but she could feel the pressure mounting with each second. Just as she finished speaking, the tall guard glanced at his colleague and nodded, signaling that it was time for further action. "Due to heightened security protocols, we're going to need to conduct a full-body search," he announced, his voice firm yet professional. The words echoed in her mind like a drumbeat, sending a wave of anxiety through her. A full-body search. This was not how she had envisioned her mission unfolding. The second guard, a shorter woman with a no-nonsense demeanor, approached, taking charge of the situation. "Please step to the side. We'll conduct the search in a private area," she instructed, motioning towards a secluded corner of the security zone. Sarah could feel the curious gazes of fellow travelers on her, their brief looks filled with confusion and concern. Though she understood that these measures were necessary in light of recent threats, the idea of being searched so thoroughly made her pulse quicken. She took a steadying breath, reminding herself of her training and experience. It was critical to remain composed, even when they had no idea who they were dealing with. "Of course," she replied smoothly, maintaining her calm facade. As she followed the guards to the designated area, her mind raced. The risk of exposure was greater than ever, and she needed to remain sharp. This unexpected order for a search not only threatened her cover, but also put the mission at risk. Stepping into the privacy of the search area, Sarah steeled herself for what was to come, determined to navigate this new challenge without revealing her true identity as an admiral, a detail that could change everything. Inside the private search area, Admiral Sarah Thompson fought to maintain her calm facade, but inside, a storm of frustration raged. She understood the necessity of security measures in today's world, especially with recent threats looming over airports. However, being subjected to a full-body search felt like an intrusion into her carefully constructed mission and identity. As the guards prepared for the search, her thoughts raced. She had trained for years to handle high-pressure situations with poise, yet now she grappled with the feeling of vulnerability. Thoughts of potential exposure flooded her mind. What if they discovered who she truly was? The implications could be catastrophic, not only for her mission, but also for national security. Still, she reminded herself that the guards were simply doing their jobs. In their shoes, she would likely approach every traveler with a similar vigilance. The safety of countless people depended on their diligence, and as much as it frustrated her personally, She knew that respecting their role was essential. It was a matter of duty, not just to protect herself, but to recognize that they were all part of a larger effort to ensure public safety. Maintaining inner calm became her focus as she stood there waiting. Sarah took slow, deliberate breaths, channeling her frustration into resolve. She had faced tough situations before and emerged stronger. This would be no different. The scrutiny might feel uncomfortable and invasive, but it was not personal. It was necessary. Just breathe, she thought, clenching her fists tightly for a moment before relaxing them again. In this moment of unanticipated challenge, she silently vowed to navigate through this ordeal with grace and strength while keeping her true identity hidden at all costs. With every second that passed, she steeled herself for whatever was next and reminded herself that this mission was too important to fail. As the guard signaled for the search to begin, Admiral Sarah Thompson took a moment to steady herself. The small private area felt constricting, and as the guard explained the process, she nodded politely while reminding herself to stay focused. There was no room for error. She needed to remain calm and composed, even if she could feel her heart racing. The guard instructed her to stand with her arms outstretched, feet shoulder-width apart. Sarah followed the command without hesitation, channeling her military training to keep her demeanor professional. She knew that any hint of discomfort might raise suspicion, so she focused on her breath, slow and steady, as the guard moved to examine her. With each scanning motion, the guard's hands lightly brushed against her clothes. While it felt uncomfortable, Sarah concentrated on maintaining a neutral expression, avoiding any signs of agitation. Stay relaxed, she reminded herself internally, thinking back to her training where discipline was paramount in every situation. The second guard observed closely, watching for any unusual reactions. Sarah felt their gaze on her, but remained unfazed. She was determined not to betray any hint of her true identity or show that she was anything less than an ordinary traveler facing a routine checkpoint. As they continued the search, memories of missions past flooded through her mind. In those moments of high stakes, she had faced challenges far more daunting than this. Even so, each second felt like an eternity now. She reminded herself that this task was just a small hurdle on the way to protecting countless lives. When the guards finally wrapped up their inspection and stepped back, Sarah let out a silent sigh of relief. They had completed the search without uncovering anything abnormal, and while it was an uncomfortable experience, she had upheld her composure throughout. Stepping out from under their scrutiny felt like emerging from a tight spot in which she had proven herself yet again, ready to continue with her mission ahead and more determined than ever. As the search concluded, Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. She had managed to maintain her composure, but just as she thought she might finally escape the scrutiny of the guards, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. One of the guards, a younger man with sharp eyes and a keen sense of recognition, suddenly froze mid-motion. He squinted at her closely, his expression morphing from mild curiosity to one of dawning realization. "Wait a minute," he murmured, stepping back slightly. "Are you Admiral Thompson?" The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Sarah's heart dropped as she recognized the implication. She had been in news reports and military briefings. Her face was familiar to many who worked in security due to her high-profile status. Panic surged through her veins, and she fought to suppress any reaction that might betray her true identity. No," she stammered instinctively, trying to reassert control over the situation. But it was too late. His colleague leaned in closer, brows furrowing as he tried to place her face. The guard's phone buzzed in his pocket, a reminder that their protocol was to verify identities quickly when they suspected something unusual. Sarah felt time slow down as he glanced at it, before looking back at her with uncertainty. "I swear I've seen you before," he insisted, shaking his head slightly as if trying to clear away doubt. In that moment, Sarah could feel the tension in the room escalate further. The other guard moved closer, clearly interested in what was unfolding. She knew every second counted, and that she needed to act fast before their suspicions boiled over into something much worse. Drawing on all her training and instincts as an admiral, she gave a confident smile and said smoothly, "I get that a lot. I'm often mistaken for someone else." The words came out more easily than she felt inside. Yet as she spoke, uncertainty gnawed at her mind. If they connected the dots and discovered who she truly was, everything would unravel. The pressure intensified. How could she turn their suspicion back into normalcy before this moment spiraled out of control? The atmosphere shifted sharply the moment the guards realized they had been searching a high-ranking admiral. The younger guard, who had recognized her, quickly stepped back, his eyes wide with shock. "I can't believe it! Admiral Thompson!" he exclaimed, suddenly understanding the gravity of the situation. The older guard's expression mirrored his disbelief as he glanced between Sarah and his colleague. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry for this misunderstanding," he said earnestly, visibly embarrassed by the mix-up. "With recent threats, we've been on high alert and have had to enforce strict procedures." Sarah took a deep breath, feeling a mix of relief and frustration well up within her. Though she understood their position and the necessity of security measures, it was still uncomfortable to be treated like a suspect. "I appreciate your dedication to keeping everyone safe," she replied calmly, trying to ease their apparent distress. Both guards looked visibly relieved that she wasn't angry. Instead, they were focused on rectifying the situation. "We should have recognized you sooner," the younger guard added sincerely. "You've done so much for our country." Sarah felt a rush of respect directed towards her from the guards, who only moments before had been scrutinizing her as an ordinary traveler. Their apology was heartfelt, and it was clear they were just following protocol in uneasy times. "We appreciate your understanding, Admiral," the older guard said while straightening his posture slightly. "If there's anything we can do to assist you now or ensure your safety further during your travels, please let us know." With their shift in demeanor came an acknowledgement of her status and accomplishments, which made her feel more at ease despite the last few harrowing moments. Sarah offered them both a warm smile. "Thank you. I'll keep that in mind." As she prepared to leave the search area, she realized that though this unexpected twist could have jeopardized her mission, it also highlighted her commitment to serving not only as an admiral, but as a protector of those around her. Even in moments of vulnerability and scrutiny, stepping back into the terminal with their respect resonating in her mind, she reminded herself that perseverance was key to continuing her critical mission. As Admiral Sarah Thompson walked away from the search area, her thoughts turned to the security procedures that had just unfolded. The experience highlighted for her the delicate balance between ensuring safety and the potential for misunderstandings, even regarding those in positions of power. In a world filled with threats, the measures implemented by security personnel were essential for protecting countless lives. Yet, she couldn't help but reflect on how easily an individual's identity could be overlooked amid strict protocols. She understood that the guards were tasked with an enormous responsibility in a challenging environment where every traveler posed a potential risk. Their focus on safety meant that they had to approach each situation with caution, which sometimes led to misinterpretations. In her case, it had resulted in an uncomfortable moment of scrutiny and vulnerability. As a leader in the military, Sarah was well aware of the importance of protocol and adherence to procedure, values she had instilled in her own team. However, standing there in disguise, she recognized how challenging it could be to apply those principles fairly and effectively when every person passing through security was a potential threat. This incident reminded her that empathy must coexist with vigilance. Security personnel, like everyone else, were human and could make mistakes, especially under pressure. Sarah felt gratitude for their dedication, yet understood that such situations could cause unnecessary tension and anxiety for travelers. With a renewed sense of resolve, she knew that moving forward, a balance could be struck between rigorous security measures and respectful treatment of individuals. As she prepared to continue her mission, she vowed to advocate for approaches that would safeguard public safety while also honoring the dignity of every person involved. After all, everyone shared the same goal: to create a safe and secure environment for all. As Admiral Sarah Thompson stepped back into the terminal, the tension from the search incident began to dissipate. The guards, still somewhat embarrassed by the misunderstanding, exchanged glances with her. Sensing an opportunity to lighten the mood, Sarah decided to play along. "Next time," she said with a playful smile, "maybe I should wear a t-shirt that says Admiral on duty, just to avoid any confusion." The younger guard chuckled, clearly relieved to see her in good spirits. "That would definitely make our jobs easier," he replied, his earlier apprehension fading away. The older guard chimed in, "Or perhaps we could just get you a badge that says, 'Don't search me.' That would be even better." The laughter that followed eased the lingering awkwardness of the situation and created a moment of camaraderie. Sarah appreciated their willingness to share a light-hearted moment despite the earlier tension. "You know," she said, her tone sincere, "I really do appreciate the work you both do here. It's important, and I understand the pressure you're under." The guards nodded appreciatively, gratitude evident in their expressions. It felt good for Sarah to have this exchange with them. It reminded her that everyone shared a common goal of safety and security. As they prepared to part ways, one of the guards added with a grin, "Just so you know, we'll keep an eye out for that t-shirt in case you decide to wear it next time." With a laugh and a warm goodbye, Sarah resumed her mission. Feeling both lighter and more determined, she navigated through the crowd, ready to tackle the challenges ahead. This unexpected encounter had reinforced her resolve, not only to protect others, but to advocate for understanding and respect in all circumstances. Each step she took felt purposeful as she moved forward into her next assignment, reminding herself that even in serious moments, a little humor could go a long way. As Admiral Sarah Thompson moved forward with her mission, she reflected on the entire encounter and the valuable lessons it had taught her. The experience at the airport served as a poignant reminder of the importance of respect and understanding in any interaction, especially in high-stakes environments. It was easy to forget that every person has a role to play in the broader tapestry of safety and security. The guards, tasked with their roles, were simply doing their jobs to protect everyone, including her. This incident also highlighted how quickly misunderstandings could arise when appearances alone were judged, without considering context or identity. Sarah recognized that even someone with a high-ranking status could become entangled in such situations, prompting the need for empathy from all parties involved. It reinforced her belief that valuing human connection and recognizing each individual's dignity is essential, regardless of their position. Moreover, Sarah realized that taking a moment to share humor during tense times helped bridge gaps that could otherwise lead to resentment or distrust. The light-hearted exchange with the guards not only eased their embarrassment, but also fostered mutual respect, a reminder that laughter can be a powerful tool for breaking down barriers. As she continued on her path, Sarah vowed to advocate for systems and procedures that promote understanding while maintaining safety. She understood that everyone deserved respect and compassion, especially during moments of vulnerability and scrutiny. This experience would serve as a guiding principle for her future endeavors, reinforcing her commitment to protecting others while ensuring that every interaction is approached with kindness and consideration. In her line of work, where lives are often at stake, this blend of vigilance and empathy would be vital, not just for operational success, but for nurturing a culture where everyone feels valued and understood. With each step she took away from the search area, Admiral Sarah Thompson felt more empowered than ever to lead by example in both her professional role and personal life.